Now, Sean, people will say I'm a homer for this one. People will not like this pick, but I'm going with the United States' very own Timmy Brownell, number one, 68 in the world this season. Unbelievable finish to the 2021-2022 season. Won U.S. Nationals as the 4 seed in this tournament, beat Shah Jahan Khan in the semifinals, beat Todd Harity in the finals. Up to that point, Harity hadn't dropped a single game all tournament, and Brownell knocked him out in, I believe, 4 games. And this tournament doesn't even count towards PSA ranking points, unfortunately, or else Brownell would be much higher up in the rankings. Like if this was like a bronze event or a high-level satellite tournament or challenger tour tournament, then this would have given him a bucket load of points, but unfortunately did not. But an event that did give him a bucket load of points at the end of the season was the Tournament of Champions Challenger Tournament, which is arguably the biggest challenger tournament of the season, which he won. And after qualifying 4 tournament champions, ended up beating the world number 29, Kareem El Hamami, who at the time was world 29. I think he's just outside the top 30 now. He might be 30 or 31 at this point, but a great talent. So we've seen that he is able to pick up these big time wins, 68 in the world, about 5 spots behind Ali. And I think that we are going to see a massive jump from Timmy this season. I'm buying into the U.S. squash program, what Ung Meng Hee and U.S. squash is building out in Philadelphia. They take their squash extremely seriously, and I think that Timmy, as well as Spencer Lovejoy, who's another honorable mention, and a couple of the other young, talented, Faraz Khan is another one. These young, talented U.S. players are going to have some big results in the 2022-2023 season, Sean.
Yeah, great pick. I think it's a great pick. Wow. I think he's always been good. I think he's, not, again, we're talking about players who haven't received much attention. And I think there was he was given the wild card spot a couple years back in the TOC where he was playing Yusuf Soliman and took him to 4. And I thought that was testament to, okay, he's the real deal. And I think there are a lot of players in the 70 to 30 range who are relatively all similar in level. And I think Timmy is one of those players who could very much so make that jump to the 30s by the end of this season. And I'm excited to watch him play. He's very unique with how he reads the game. And I think he's very underrated and great to watch as well.
Very underrated, very unorthodox, as you were kind of suggesting earlier, but just a joy to watch. Always plays unbelievably hard every time he gets out there. Joey and PJ, I think it was the I'm trying to remember what tournament it was, but they were in love with watching Timmy play and how hard he played every single rally, and we're gushing over him. So that's how you know when you get the Joey and PJ stamp of approval. That's how you know that you love to see it, and that he's a very talented player. So Sean, without further ado, I cannot wait to hear your number 1 ranked player that you expect to rise up the PSA rankings this season.
So this guy is very mysterious. I love watching him play, and a lot of the players that we've picked so far haven't received much attention. He's from Hong Kong, Feng Yip. He's ranked 53 in the world right now, and that is ridiculous to me that he's ranked that low. He's been up to as high as 21 in the world back in 2019, where I really thought he was getting a hold of his position in the rankings and his squash, and then boom, COVID hit. And I really do think this could be an assumption on my part, but there's been a lack of opportunities from a lot of these Asian countries since COVID, and we really didn't even see his name being featured, or a lot of other Asian players, especially from Hong Kong, till the latter half of 2021-2022 season. And I think he's someone who is so explosive and so good with his racket, and he's hitting his prime in terms of age. He's 28 right now, and he's honestly got a great build for squash, tree trunks of calves. And given how well he was doing before COVID, and I think he's going to make the highest jump, and that's why I have him as my number 1 pick.
I was a big Max Lee fan back a few years ago, so I love my Hong Kong squash guys. And that might be a very fair assessment that some of the COVID lockdown stuff has prevented a lot of these guys from Hong Kong, China, a lot of these kind of Eastern countries to not be able to rise up the rankings as much as we would have anticipated. So a guy that Timmy Brownell on my podcast called a ninja, called one of the most underrated players on tour. I think that it's a great selection, Sean.